Good evening, my darklings, and welcome to the Shadow Hour. I am your host, Madam Midnight. Sometimes most people would simply crush bugs beneath their shoes. But what if that bug wasn't supposed to be here? What if it wasn't really a bug at all? And what if eating it didn't kill you, but changed you? Tonight we're going back to the summer of 2019 to a quiet little town where five 15-year-old friends discover something beneath an old rotten log. Something strange, something they should have left alone. And one boy would learn that sometimes a dare can change you forever. Chapter 1: The Dare. The afternoon heat pressed down over the abandoned lot behind the neighborhood. 15-year-old Ethan Miller stood with his friends, Jake, Marcus, Tyler, and Noah. They had spent the afternoon riding bikes, throwing rocks at old bottles, and daring each other to do incredibly stupid things. Then Marcus lifted the corner of a rotting piece of wood. "Guys!" Everyone leaned closer. Something moved underneath. It was shaped like a beetle, but none of them had ever seen anything like it. This body was unnaturally long and almost glossy, with a strange charcoal block shell. Thin orange markings ran along its back and its legs. There were too many of them. Jake stepped backward. "Okay, nope." Marcus laughed. "What, you scared? That's not a normal bug." Tyler crouched closer. "Maybe it's some kind of a beetle." The creature suddenly twitched. Its tiny antenna swept through the air. Ethan laughed nervously. "It's just a bug." Marcus grinned. "Then eat it." Ethan stared at him. "What?" "You heard me." Jake immediately shook his head. "Dude, don't." Marcus laughed. "Come on, Ethan. You always talk big." Ethan looked at the others. "Seriously?" Tyler smirked. "You scared?" Ethan sighed. You guys are idiots." Marcus held out his phone. "I'll record it." Ethan hesitated. Then pride took over. "Fine." He picked up the strange creature. It squirmed beneath his fingers. Ethan grimaced. "Ugh." Marcus laughed. "Do it." Ethan shut his eyes and swallowed. For several seconds, nothing happened. Everyone erupted into laughter. "See," Ethan said, "nothing." Then he stopped. His smile disappeared. "Guys?" Jake looked at him. "What?" Ethan pressed a hand against his stomach. "I feel..." He swallowed. "Something moving." Chapter 2: The First Change. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. His stomach cramped. Then came a strange sensation beneath his skin, a crawling. Not on his skin, underneath it. He sat upright. What the hell? His stomach tightened. Ethan rushed to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror. At first, everything seemed normal. Then his pupils contracted, not slowly, instantly. His pupils became narrow, dark slits. Ethan stumbled backwards. "What?" He rubbed his eyes. When he looked again, they were normal. He whispered, "I'm losing it." Then came the buzzing. A faint vibration in his ears. Bzzz. Ethan slapped his hands over them. "Stop!" The sound disappeared. He lowered his hands. Silence. And then, bzzz. Ethan screamed. Chapter 3: The Next Morning. At breakfast, Ethan barely touched his food. His mother noticed immediately. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" "Yeah." "You look pale." I just didn't sleep. His father glanced over. Have you a fever? No. His mother touched his forehead. Ethan jerked away. Don't. Everyone froze. Ethan looked embarrassed. Sorry. His mother frowned. Okay. Ethan pushed his chair back. I need to go to school. But when he stood, something underneath his shirt moved. His father noticed. Ethan! Ethan froze. What? Your shirt. What about it? His father stared. Something just moved. Ethan looked down. Nothing. Probably my stomach. His mother exchanged a worried glance with his father. The transformation. By lunchtime, Ethan knew something was terribly wrong. His fingers had become stiff. His joints felt strange. And when he looked into his hands, the skin appeared slightly darker and shinier than before. Jake stared at him. Dude, what? Your eyes. Ethan blinked. What about them? They're weird. Ethan pulled out his phone and opened the camera. His eyes had changed again. His pupils were thin, vertical lines, and around his irises was a faint amber glow. Ethan whispered, No! Jake looked frightened. Is this because of that bug? Shut up! Ethan, I said shut up! The classroom suddenly went silent. Everyone stared. Ethan's voice had changed. It carried a faint clicking sound beneath the words. He covered his mouth. What's happening to me? That evening, Ethan's parents took him to the emergency room. The doctors ran blood tests, scans, x-rays. Everything came back normal, except for one thing. His body temperature kept dropping, and his heartbeat was slowing. The doctors frowned at the monitor. This doesn't make sense. Ethan's mother gripped his hands. What doesn't? His metabolism is changing. Ethan looked at him. Changing into what? The doctor didn't answer. Suddenly, Ethan's back arched. He screamed. His muscles tightened. Beneath the skin, dark patches spread across his shoulders. His mother screamed, Ethan! The skin along his spine hardened. Small plates formed beneath the surface. His fingernails thickened. His fingers lightened slightly. And behind his ears, 2 tiny ridges appeared. Ethan looked at his reflection in the hospital window. His face was still his, mostly. His cheekbones had become sharper, his jaw slightly elongated, and his eyes reflected the hospital lights like a nocturnal animal. He whispered, I'm becoming it. Over the next several days, Ethan's transformation accelerated. His skin developed a dark, glossy texture across his arms and shoulders. Hard plates formed along his back and chest. His fingers became segmented looking, with small ridges along the joints. His ears became more sensitive. He could hear footsteps from rooms away. He could smell rain before clouds appeared, and he developed an uncontrollable attraction to darkness. But the strangest change was his vision. Ethan could suddenly see movement in almost complete darkness. One night, his mother found him sitting on the floor of his bedroom with the lights off. Ethan? He turned. His eyes reflected faintly in the darkness. His mother froze. Sweetheart? I can see perfectly. She turned on the light. Ethan covered his eyes. Turn it off! She immediately switched it off. He relaxed. I don't like bright lights anymore. His mother sat beside him. Are you still my Ethan? He looked at her. There was a fear in his eyes, but there was still tears also. Mom, he reached for her hand. I'm still me. Weeks later, Ethan no longer looked completely human. He still had his teenage voice, his memories, his personality, his sense of humor, but physically had become something entirely different. His body was covered in dark, protective plates across his back, shoulders, arms, and legs. His eyes had developed a deep amber color with narrow pupils. Two delicate antennas extended from his hairline, constantly moving as though sensing the air. His fingers were longer and jointed differently. His feet had become unusually strong, allowing him to cling to rough surfaces, and beneath his clothing, folded slightly against his back, were two thin, translucent wings. He discovered them accidentally. He was clinging to the side of his bedroom wall when he suddenly unfolded them. Ethan stared over his shoulder. "No way!" He slowly moved them. They vibrated. Bzzz. His eyes widened. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." Jake, Marcus, Tyler, and Noah came to visit. Marcus couldn't look at him. Ethan stared at him. "You dared me." Marcus swallowed. "I know. You laughed." "I know. You thought it was funny." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't know." Ethan's expression softened. "I know." Marcus finally looked at him. "Are you still Ethan?" Ethan smiled. "Unfortunately," Jake laughed. Then Ethan laughed too. For the first time in weeks, he felt normal, even though he looked anything but normal. Ethan never returned to being completely human. Doctors couldn't reverse the mutation. They couldn't even identify exactly what the creature had been. Eventually, Ethan's family moved to a secluded house where he could live without constantly being stared at. He began wearing hoodies, gloves, and sunglasses whenever he went outside. He learned how to control his wings. He learned to live with his heightened senses. He learned that bright lights hurt his eyes, and he discovered something else. The creature hadn't destroyed his mind. It hadn't erased Ethan. It had simply changed his body. He was still 15. He still loved video games, still argued with his parents, still hated homework, still laughed at stupid jokes. But every night when the sun went down, Ethan climbed onto the roof. His antenna moved through the air. His wings unfolded and he listened. The world sounded different now. Every rustling leaf, every tiny movement, every distant sound, he could hear all of it. One evening, his mother stepped onto the porch. "Ethan?" He turned. "Yeah?" "Dinner." She smiled. "Coming." He climbed down the wall. His mother shook her head. "You know, normal teenagers use stairs." Ethan grinned. "I'm not exactly normal anymore." She smiled. "No." She reached for his hand. "But you're still my son." Ethan squeezed her hand. "That's all I need." Months later, Ethan returned to the abandoned lot with Jake. The rotten log was still there. Jake stared at it. "You think there's more?" Ethan crouched beside the log. His antenna moved. He listened. Then he heard it. Bzzz. His expression changed. Jake whispered, "What?" Ethan slowly moved. "There's more." Jake's face went pale. "How many?" Ethan looked towards the dark forest. His amorous eyes narrowed. "Hundreds." A swarm of tiny wings suddenly rose from the trees. Jake stepped backwards. "Ethan!" Ethan spread his own wings. "Run!" Jake didn't argue. They sprinted towards the road as the buzzing grew louder, and behind them something moved beneath the rotten log. Something much bigger than the creature Ethan had swallowed. And so, my darklings, Ethan survived, but somewhere beyond that abandoned log, something is still breeding. Something was still changing, and Ethan knew one terrifying truth. He wasn't the last. And whatever had entered his body that summer might have been waiting for someone else to find it. So remember, darklings, the next time someone dares you to eat something strange, maybe don't. Because sometimes the smallest things can make the biggest changes. This has been the Shadow Hour with me, your host, Madam Midnight. Until next time, my darklings, keep your lights low, keep your eyes open, and whatever you do, do not eat bugs. And have a good night.